Okay, we're back and we're going to write quadratic equations given the roots. That looks like that's lesson 6, so let's go for it. So given roots or zeros or intercepts, or you can say solutions or factors, whatever, we can use that to write the actual quadratic equation. Okay, so we can use distributing to figure that out. So what's awesome is on all 6 of these problems, we're given 2 roots, and we just need to find what the actual quadratic is. So if we look at number 1, we have 4 and 4. So what's nice, given the roots, is you can just go ahead and plug them in, but the biggest thing you got to watch out for is the sign. So if we look and see that both of those 4's as roots are positive, that means in the factors, I'm putting them as negatives. So I have 2x minus 4's. So after I do that, I can FOIL, so do the first multiply together, the last, inner, and then last. Or we can make one of those boxes that we did earlier. So if we have x minus 4, and we're multiplying by x minus 4, I can set up a little box here that can help us out. So we multiply. So we do x times x. That gives me x squared. Then in this one here, I'm doing negative 4 times x. That gives me a negative 4x. Then I've got x times negative 4 again. So I have a negative 4x. And then lastly, I have negative 4 times negative 4, which gives you a positive 16. So that's a really easy way of multiplying it out. The last thing we have to do is just simplify. So I take my yellow box and I write that one first. So I've got x squared. I combine my orange boxes, my diagonal. So negative 4 minus 4 gives me a minus 8x. And then I write my blue box, which is plus 16. And that's my quadratic equation. Okay, well, if I look at number 2, I have that same thing. Well, I need to plug in the factors. So I have x something and then x something. So I know one's going to be a 2, one's going to be a 3. We just have to figure out the signs. So if that root's giving me x minus 2, that means I want to write it as x plus 2. And if that's a positive 3, then I want to write it as a negative 3. So let's go ahead and multiply this out, figure out what our quadratic is. So we've got x plus 2 on the top. We've got x minus 3 on the bottom. We make our beautiful box. Let's multiply. So the first one, we've got x times x, which gives us x squared. Then our next one, we've got 2 times x, which gives me 2x. My next one, I've got negative 3 times x, which gives me a negative 3x. And then lastly, I've got 2 times negative 3, which gives me negative 6. So remember, I put my yellow first, so I've got x squared. I combine my diagonal, so 2 minus 3 gives me a negative 1x, and then I put my blue, minus 6. So there's my answer there. So hopefully that helps with a little bit of color coding, but let's go ahead and do another one. So my roots for number 3, we've got x and something, and then x and something. So if I have a negative 1, I want to write that as plus 1. And if I have a positive 1, I want to write it as minus 1. So now we need to kind of fill up our box. So we got x plus 1, x minus 1, make my lovely box. So first thing that we're doing is x times x, which gives me x squared. Next thing I'm doing is 1 times x, which gives me 1x. Then I'm doing x times negative 1, which gives me a negative 1x. And then lastly, I've got 1 times negative 1, which gives me a minus 1. So let's write the first one first, the yellow. So I got x squared. I combine my middle. I've got 1 minus 1, which gives me 0. And then, so you can put plus 0x, or you can just not write it at all, and then minus 1. So we would have x squared minus 1. Beautiful. All right, next one. We've got 6 and negative 6. So we've got x plus 6. They're both negative, so they're both going to be positive when we write them as factors. So x plus 6, x plus 6. I make my box. I got x squared plus 6x plus 6x plus 36. I combine the 2 in the middle. So I've got x squared plus 12x plus 36. And that's my quadratic equation there. All right, we got 2 more. So we have w and negative p, and oh boy, won't this be fun. So we've got just letter examples. So if we were to plug them in, we would have x minus w and x plus p. So now let's multiply. So we got x minus w, we got x plus p. Make it a little box. We know x times x is x squared. Negative w times x gives you a negative wx. Then we have x times p, which is just xp. And then we have negative w times p, which is just a negative wp. Okay, we can't combine those middle terms, so x squared minus wx plus xp minus wp. Boom. Letters might be confusing, but here's a happy face to make you feel better. All right, we got one more. So pause me and figure out what the quadratic is by multiplying it out. Okay, pause me now. All right, guys, this is what you should get. So we plug them in. We got x minus 10, x plus 12. Now you multiply it out. X times x gives you an x squared. Negative 10 times x gives you a negative 10x. We've got x times 12, which gives you a 12x. And negative 10 times 12, which gives you a negative 120. You combine the diagonal, so the negative 10 and plus 12 to give you 2. And here's our beautiful answer. Hopefully you guys got it right. If you need help, just let us know. Bye!